You give, you show up, you answer every call, you help because it's right, not because it's easy. And they smile. They call you real. They say you're like family. But the moment you stop, the moment you say, not today, silence, distance, change. They never loved you. They loved how you made them feel. And when you stop being useful, they stop being present. That's not betrayal. That's the truth. And Machiavelli saw it coming centuries ago. Affection isn't always real. It's often just emotional currency. And what can be traded can be taken back. You think they're loyal, but behind every thank you is a calculation. You made them feel heard, seen, supported. But stop doing that, and you'll watch the light drain from their face like you just became a stranger. Let that land. If they only value you when you give, they don't love you. They're using you. Modern manipulators don't bark demands. They praise. They say, "You're the strong one. I don't know what I'd do without you." It sounds like intimacy, but it's not. It's strategy, because what they're really saying is, don't stop, don't change. Keep being my source of stability so I don't have to find my own. Machiavelli would whisper, the loyalty of most men dies the second their needs go unmet. Think about it. Where are they when you say no? Where are they when you ask for help? Where are they when you fall apart? Gone, busy, vanished. Not because they're villains, because the transaction ended. You weren't in a relationship. You were in a contract, and you didn't even know it. The worst part? They're not pretending. They believe they care, but they love the feeling you give them, not the reality of who you are. Your loyalty, mistaken for compatibility. Your effort, mistaken for connection. Your presence, mistaken for permanence. But when you stop performing, they feel betrayed, as if your self-preservation is a personal attack. Let's call this what it is. You weren't chosen, you were convenient. And once you became inconvenient, the mask slipped. Now you're selfish. Now you're cold. Now you changed. But you didn't become worse. You just became aware. Machiavelli said it best, do not rely on gratitude. He who lives by the thank you is already conquered. Try it. Say no. Set a boundary. Step back. Watch who respects it. Watch who disappears. That's not your tribe. That's your leash. The most dangerous kind of manipulator? Not the one who screams, the one who wraps control in compliments. You're so strong. You always show up. You're my rock. Sounds warm, feels right, but it's bait because they're defining your role so that if you ever deviate, it feels like betrayal. That's not love. That's emotional conditioning. It's not support, it's control through identity. They don't need to guilt you. They just praise you until you start guilting yourself. So when you say, I need rest, they say, you've changed. When you set a boundary, they say, you're not who you used to be. They'll call it selfish. They'll say you're acting brand new. But Machiavelli would grin and tell you this. Those who feed on your weakness will always call your strength betrayal. You want to know who actually loves you? Stop being useful for 30 days. Don't give. Don't fix. Don't chase. Just observe. Watch who gets quiet. Watch who starts guilt tripping. Watch who suddenly finds you distant. Because they weren't here for your heart. They were here for your function. Let's get brutal. The people who loved you the loudest, they'll punish you first when you start loving yourself. You're distant. You're cold. Success changed you. Number clarity changed you. And now they can't feed off your burnout. You were trained to believe boundaries are cruel. That saying no makes you cold. That taking space is abandonment. But that training, it wasn't love. It was fear of losing access to you. Machiavelli saw this long before the age of texts and emojis. He warned, those who fear your absence never valued your presence. They just feared the cost of replacing it. So the next time someone says you've changed, smile, nod, and walk. Because what they really mean is, you stop solving my problems for free. They didn't say, I appreciate you. They said, don't stop being available. They didn't say, I respect you. They said, keep performing or I leave. And now that you're done performing, you see it for what it always was. A role, a pattern, a contract, dressed up as closeness. Machiavelli didn't just teach about enemies. He studied how friends become obligations. You were never cold. You were just finely measured. And the people who disappear when you stop giving, they weren't friends. They were addicted to your attention. You cut the supply. Now they call you distant. That's not rejection. That's relief. Their mask no longer works. You stop giving. You stop chasing. You stop responding just to keep the peace. And something strange happens. They vanish. No fight. No apology. No explanation. Just gone. Not because you were cruel, but because you stopped being easy to reach. That's all it ever took. Now you see the truth. You weren't surrounded by love. You were surrounded by access. And once the access ended, so did the illusion. They didn't ghost you. They just didn't know how to function without you feeding the dynamic. That's what Machiavelli called the silent severing. You don't lash out. You don't demand closure. You just stop showing up. And who's real becomes painfully obvious. You don't owe them a speech. You don't owe them one last emotional download. You just let your absence do the talking. That's the move that stings the most. The move they never expect. Because manipulators don't know how to handle silence. They only know how to feed off reaction. No reaction, no fuel. So they retreat. Then spin the story. He got cold. She switched up. They think they're better now. But notice what they don't say. They don't ask why, because deep down they already know. You pulled away, and suddenly the mirror's clear, and what it reflects is brutal. I was never in this for you. I was in it for me. That's when everything shifts. You don't explain. You don't justify. You become rare, not bitter, not spiteful, just rare. From now on, your time is expensive. Your emotional energy is limited. And your love is no longer given by default. You used to show up for everyone. Now people notice when you do. You used to carry conversations. Now silence speaks for you. You used to be the fallback. Now you're the standard. The ones who once ignored you, they start watching again. Not because they respect you yet, but because they feel the shift. You're not angry. You're unavailable. And that silence, that measured distance, it forces people to reevaluate what they took for granted. Machiavelli didn't preach revenge. He preached consequences disguised as grace. You don't need to punish anyone. You just stop offering yourself where it's not appreciated. And that alone is punishment enough. People remember what they can't replace. And when you finally step back, they realize they never had a backup plan. You were the attention. You were the presence. You were the one who gave their world consistency. And now they sit in the quiet you used to fill. The guilt trips don't work anymore. The praise feels hollow, because now you've seen what happens when the giving stops. So here's your rule now. Your energy is no longer available on request. If they want your time, they match your effort. If they want your love, they show consistency. If they want your attention, they bring value. From this point forward, every connection must meet your standard. You don't lower it for history. You don't lower it for potential. You don't lower it for guilt. If they couldn't hold you when you stop performing, they don't deserve you when you're thriving. The old you was always available. This version of you is intentional. Your silence now carries weight. Your withdrawal now carries meaning. Your return when it happens is no longer routine. It's a statement. That's what Machiavelli meant when he said, "Power isn't in how many follow. It's in how many notice when you're gone. You don't burn bridges anymore. You just stop carrying them. And the ones who built their lives around your energy, they'll feel the collapse first. So don't explain. Don't correct the rumors. Don't fix what they broke. Let them think you're distant. Let them call you cold. Let them miss the old you. The old you was always available. This you are deliberate. Your love is no longer emotional labor. It is earned. Your presence is no longer automatic. It is scarce by design. And scarcity makes people pay attention. They won't admit they took you for granted, but they'll feel the absence. They'll remember how easy it was, and they'll quietly wish you never figured it out. But you did. So now, you don't return their calls immediately. You don't apologize for changing. You don't lower your boundaries to keep the peace. You don't explain the silence. You let it teach. And the ones who rise to your new level, the ones who don't shrink in the gap, they're the ones who were real all along. So say it out loud. I am no longer useful. I am now unforgettable. And from this moment forward, you walk like your energy is gold. You speak like your attention is currency. And you love only in ways that don't cost your soul. This isn't revenge. This is evolution. They didn't love you. They loved access. You took it away. Now they know the difference. Let the silence speak. Let absence echo. Let them sit in the gap where your effort used to be. And don't look back, because the most Machiavellian move of all is not in conquering them. It's in becoming someone they never get access to again.